Your husband is at a crossroads in his career. He's competing for promotion. To get the edge, you have wisely decided to invite the boss and his wife to a 7 o'clock dinner. Then surprise, it's 6:15, and your husband's called to say that Smith, Jones, and their wives have been invited at the boss's request. Ever the wealthy girl, you keep your cool and understand that the boss is probably testing you as much as your husband. What next?
One of my all-time favorite movies is Mona Lisa's Smile. Seriously, such a good movie. It's the 1950s. Women who were fortunate enough to go to college pretty much only went to learn how to be the best housewife they could be. Then Julia Roberts comes in and she ruffles up the status quo, showing these young ladies that they could be anything they want. Yay, feminism. Feminism is all about empowering women to be able to be whatever they want to be, right? Well, what if what a woman wants to be is a housewife and stay-at-home mom? Should a woman be shamed for not, shooting for the stars career-wise, so to speak? If we worry about a woman's mental health amongst objectively strenuous living circumstances and she says she's fine, should we believe her? Nobody is sparking as much debate online right now than that of Hannah Neeleman from Ballerina Farm, a social media darling who has amassed millions of followers across various platforms, showcasing herself, her husband, their farm, their 8 children, and their journey as first-generation farmers. A recent article for the UK Times written by Megan Agnew has sparked a firestorm of discussion because it pretty much depicted Hannah as a hostage to her husband's whims. Hannah Neeleman has fired back at that article, calling it a hit piece, insisting she is co-CEO and denouncing any notion that she might be this captive housewife. I have been wanting to discuss Ballerina Farms for a minute now. We have a lot to talk about. Let's get into today's video. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome to Sarah Spills. If you are on TikTok or Instagram or even YouTube, you are probably familiar with the term Tradwife, as it's a trend gripping social media with influencers amassing millions of followers by getting all decked out, and perhaps you could call it cosplaying a bygone era.
When we stress test the argument, is this just making cookies, or is it the promotion of an oppressive idea of what women should be that is actively being promoted by leading politicians in the country? That then becomes a very different kind of conversation, doesn't it?
It deals with issues of gender roles and feminism and freedom of choice, the rising cost of living, the rising cost of childcare, the apparent declining value of college degrees, the rise and fall of the girl boss era. And then you add in the rising popularity of social media influencers telling us how we should live our lives, and it turns into a huge disaster. What I don't want to do is bash women who take on the homemaking role. But I do see some issues with the social media tradwife trend and the role that influencers are perpetuating.
Hannah Alonso is right. This really is a divisive topic. When I went down the Ballerina Farm rabbit hole, I became kind of obsessed with Hannah Neeleman's videos, kind of in the same way I love watching Bobby Flay or Barefoot Contessa or HGTV home renovation shows. I literally will never be this kind of cook or homemaker, but I do find it fascinating to watch how things are made. Hannah Neeleman will literally make a grilled cheese sandwich, making everything, and I do mean everything, from scratch, from the butter to the sourdough bread to the cheese. It's certainly not like what I'm buying my kids from Panera. For me, this is whimsical, maybe aspirational content in a way, but it's not based in any kind of reality that I'm in. But I do enjoy watching these videos, so if she enjoys making them, then it's a win-win, right? Wrong. Lots of people have opinions about this kind of content. Hannah Neeleman of Ballerina Farm has been deemed queen of the tradwives because she has one, if not the largest social media following. I didn't crunch the numbers for all of the tradwife influencers, but between Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Ballerina Farm has over 20 million followers. This drew the attention of a journalist named Megan Agnew, who visited the Neelemans at their farm in Utah and wrote a less than favorable article depicting the Neelemans' marriage and life on their farm. Some of the most controversial revelations, or what the journalists perceived as problematic, were that Hannah met her husband Daniel while she was attending Juilliard. This is a really prestigious art school, and Hannah was studying ballet. Hannah is really good at ballet, and she dreamed of becoming a professional ballerina. Hannah reveals in this interview that she rejected dating Daniel for like 6 months, but he persisted, even pulling strings with JetBlue because, oh yeah, his dad is the founder of multiple airlines, including JetBlue, in order to get seated right next to her on a flight back to New York. This could be construed as romantic if the persistence was welcomed, or stalking if it's not. Hannah and Daniel both come from large LDS families. Getting married quickly is not uncommon in this culture, and once Daniel and Hannah started dating, Daniel wanted to get married right away, while Hannah wanted to date for a year or so before getting married. Well, Daniel won that round too. 2 months after they started dating, they were married, and 3 months after that, Hannah became pregnant. Hannah and Daniel's first child was merely weeks old when she walked across the stage at Juilliard to accept her diploma. I think it's even been reported that she went down in school history as the first pregnant undergrad. The Neelemans have now been married for 13 years. Hannah is 34, Daniel is 35, and they have 8 children. The way Hannah burst onto the social media scene was back in January. She participated in a beauty pageant a mere 12 days after giving birth to her 8th child. Many say Ballerina Farm could be viewed as a rich boy's dream of playing cowboy come true. But what about Hannah's dream? Juilliard is no joke. The dedication it takes to get to that level of dance, that is not for the faint of heart. So many followers, this journalist included, have surmised that Daniel has seen his dream realized at the cost of Hannah's. In addition to being first-generation farmers, the Neelemans homeschool all 8 of their children, and supposedly Daniel refuses to hire any nannies. One of the other controversial revelations from the article was that Hannah never had any pain intervention during any of her labors except for one. She had an epidural with one of her children that she was overdue, and the baby was measuring large. And this was a birth Daniel did not attend. The article makes it seem like Hannah was able to sneak the epidural because Daniel wasn't there. In general, the tone and tenor of the article is that we should be worried about Hannah Neeleman. Well, Hannah took to social media to say, not so fast.
A couple of weeks ago, we had a reporter come into our home to learn more about our family and business. We thought the interview went really well. Very similar to the dozens of interviews we had done in recent memory. We were taken back, however, when we saw the printed article, which shocked us and shocked the world by being an attack on our family and my marriage, portraying me as oppressed, with my husband being the culprit. This couldn't be further from the truth. Nothing we said in the interview implied this conclusion, which leads me to believe the angle taken was predetermined. For Daniel and I, our priority in life is God and family. Everything else comes second. The greatest day of my life was when Daniel and I were married 13 years ago. Together we have built a business from scratch. We've brought 8 children into this world and have prioritized our marriage all along the way. We are co-parents, co-CEOs, co-diaper changers, kitchen cleaners, and decision makers. We are one. And I love him more today than I did 13 years ago. We have many dreams still to accomplish. We aren't done having babies. We are excited for our new farm store to open, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for the rest of it. But for now, I'm doing what I love most, being a mother, wife, a businesswoman, a farmer, a lover of Jesus, and making meals from scratch.
And so the debate rages on. Do you believe Hannah when she says she's every bit a co-CEO? Or do you believe that she maybe has been coerced? Many people have taken to TikTok to point out that despite Hannah's insistence that she's co-CEO, she's not actually listed on any legal paperwork giving her ownership over their farm. So what exactly are her legal assets? Or is she just relying on the good graces of her husband? I saw this post on Reddit and I just wanted to read it here. This person says her content is dangerous. The amount of people defending BF and DD and blaming, quote, childless feminists for critiquing a, quote, perfect family is extremely jarring and really shows people's lack of critical thinking skills and capability of reading between the lines. Their relationship was built on the grounds of coercing and manipulation from both parties. That foundation has now been cracked, and they're somehow surprised that they're receiving understandable backlash for this. I have sympathy for any abuse she's enduring behind closed doors, but nothing past that. So many young girls are looking up to this woman as an epitome of some sort of standard for womanhood, when in reality, she's preaching an extremely dangerous narrative. I have nothing against tradwives, but the reality is that most men pursue these relationships with the intention of being the primary power figure. If you marry the wrong person and catch yourself in a situation where your partner is abusive, a cheater, or God forbid, a child predator, and you have no financial safety net to leave him, you're done for. Sadly, most people are oblivious to reality and will blindly listen to whatever bullshit a social media influencer tells them. Those are some strong words. The writer of the viral article, Megan Agnew, expounded on this debate.
Is this a sort of anti-feminist movement, Megan? Is that part of this?
I think that it is capitalizing on what feminism has gained, which is this ability to choose. So they are saying we are choosing this lifestyle, and being able to choose in itself is a feminist act. Other people are saying that in choosing to do so, and in doing so publicly, and by displaying it in a way that insinuates that this is the right way to do it, and if everyone did it this way, then everything would be perfect. That's what we're stuck on, basically. Right. So some people think this is the feminist act. Other people think that we're regressing, as you said, back to the 1950s.
If you've come to this channel because you follow my main channel, Reality Squad, you are familiar with my coverage of the Brown family from Sister Wives, a Mormon fundamental polygamous family. I have said for years that one of the best things to happen to the Sister Wives was being a public-facing family. These women have been able to generate incomes independent of Cody, and when they got sick of his shit, and they did get sick of his shit, they were able to leave him. I'm not saying that that's gonna happen to Hannah, but what if it does? Hannah Neeleman, she seems like a lucky lady. She's lucky because she is the face of Ballerina Farm. She has 9 million Instagram followers. Her husband, who has his own Instagram, has less than 500,000. She is why Ballerina Farm is successful. If she wanted to leave, she has the capital to make that happen. If she wanted to leave, hire tutors, bring in childcare. She could. She has the resources for that when so many women who grow up in this same culture do not. But without any outside help with childcare, there's no way Hannah and Daniel, even if they're both equally co-parenting, are adequately caring for all 8 children without parentifying their oldest ones. When you watch content creators like Fundy Fridays or even my channel, one of our biggest critiques of these mega families with tons of kids is, are these adults having more kids than they can physically handle? I mean, poverty is a huge issue for these fundamentalist families, but luckily for the Neelemans, that's not an issue for them. So I suppose if the kids are happy and healthy, and if we believe Hannah that there's no coercion or mistreatment happening, should critics just leave well enough alone so people like me can consume Ballerina Farms garlic butter tutorial guilt-free? Or, given the cultural climate that we live in these days, is it inherently dangerous rhetoric to be preaching? All natural childbirths are great if that's your jam, but in this day and age when women are losing rights to their own bodies at a record pace, isn't it fair to say that that's not what we want women to see as the only option? We want women to know that they have options. If Hannah is happy, and if she says she's not a captive, I'm gonna take her word for it. She has the resources and the platform to leave if and when she changes her mind. Some other women, many other women, do not have that luxury. That Redditor poster made an excellent point saying, quote, "I have nothing against tradwives, but the reality is that most men pursue these relationships with the intention of being the primary power figure. If you marry the wrong person and catch yourself in a situation where your partner is abusive, a cheater, or God forbid, a child predator, and you have no financial safety net to leave him, you're done for." Kudos to Hannah for apparently marrying the right person. That's fantastic. The right man that allows her to be the queen of the tradwives without sacrificing any of her autonomy. Obviously, I want to hear your thoughts on the Neelemans, that article from the Times, Ballerina Farm in general, just the entire debate circulating around this family and the tradwife trend in general. So let me know down in the comments. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram, Threads, and X at Reality Squad, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.